Good evening. Good evening. Good
What's up?
evening.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hello. Hello. Hello to all. So, all right, so okay, so I just got this text literally right before we started this.
Oh
And
boy.
a friend of mine from high school just sent me this. He sent me literally a movie poster and said, "Have you ever seen this? Is it any good?" And it's So I Married an Axe Murderer.
It
To which I reply, this is literally one of my favorite movies of all time.
is a very underrated movie.
And then I said, how the fuck have you not seen this when we're both like in our mid 40s, dude? And
Yeah.
he just said, omission on my part. I'm a slacker. I'm like, how did you not get certain jokes? Like, how do you not understand? Like, heed, pants, no, or it's the size of Sputnik.
To be fair, it is like one of those like under the radar movies. Like this was what before Austin Powers and
It
all that.
was. It was
Yeah.
between Wayne's World and
Or
Austin Powers.
Powers. Yeah.
It
So it was a
was
transitional period of
it kind of was. It was kind of like that transition Mike Myers movie.
Mhm.
It was very, very interesting. Um so speaking of interesting movies, so the new Fantastic Four trailer came out and
Mhm.
everybody is apparently talking about the Thing
Yeah.
and how good he looks
Or how
compared
bad he looks. It
or
depends
bad he
on
looks
your,
depending
yeah.
on how you look at it
Yeah.
compared to what Jack Kirby drew. Now
Yeah.
I literally saw a side by side of the Michael Chiklis in the hat and trench coat,
Yeah.
the new guy in the hat and trench coat,
Hmm.
and it was like Kirby would be proud, right? Because he got the scene is now in two movies, right?
Yeah.
Which is how the discussion should be,
Yeah.
right? Not like, oh, Kirby would be pissed, blah blah blah. Like, because
Again,
guess what,
we're living in interesting times. You know,
right?
when you think of using your common sense and using, general discussion about something like this,
Right.
just go with the flow. It's people wanted old school Fantastic Four. By the looks of this trailer, that's exactly what this is. This
Yeah.
isn't a 2000s modern updated version like the earlier versions were.
Right. Right.
And I think that's what it probably should be. I mean, we're getting so far, according to what I rewatched the trailer just before we started doing this. We got Thing with the appropriate brow, the way it was drawn by Jack Kirby. And if anyone else says no, it's not, you've never read Jack Kirby's work in Fantastic Four ever,
Right.
ever. You are lying if you did.
Right.
You're getting an actual Galactus because we see his shadow and it's the whole head piece. You see the whole thing. It's not clouds with a bunch of random doodads just hanging in the sky. Um, you get to see their powers. I like the fact it is very 60-ish, like
Right.
from the 1960s, which, well, that's when the Fantastic Four was written in the 1960s.
Right.
So, I think this is everything old school guys should be looking forward to. Um, Again, I think this is more younger guys whining than older guys.
Right.
Um, at least according to some of the profiles I clicked on Facebook, because they're all way under the age of either at 30 or below the age of 30. So
Right. Right. All right. All right. So hold on. So I want to make sure that people understand that this could have been the thing that
Oh,
we got again. This is the thing from 1994,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
the
This is
underground version was it,
this is the trauma one, right?
yeah.
Like like
Where he
that.
looks more reptile than rock.
Right, right. By the way, that movie though was actually pretty good. Like,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, I
and
said the premise was excellent. It was just the costume and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah,
awful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
But
like the script wasn't bad. It's just the production was crap.
yeah.
So this is what I'll say about every single Fantastic Four movie so far, and people can fight me on it. I don't care. Um, what I will say is this, and this is my why I am cautious about this movie. All right. I think it's going to be good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be good. But every time they get the family right, okay? They get the four right. But everything outside the four is never quite right. Like it's never quite where we need it to be.
Mhm. I
Now,
can understand that.
saying that, like the Fox stuff, the trauma stuff, they got the four right, right?
Mhm.
And in that era, especially the Fox stuff, in that era, they focused so hard on the main characters that when they went then to the peripheral guys, like it really was kind of like, man, whatever. Like like if you think of like Spider-Man, like the Raimi Spider-Man movies, it was focused so much on Spider-Man that the villains didn't really matter except in the first movie when it focused on Green Goblin,
Goblin,
right?
yeah.
The
Well,
second
second
movie
one,
maybe because it was
yeah,
mostly just Doc Ock, right?
yeah,
There's a little bit of second Goblin, a little bit, really,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But you definitely got a lot of Doc Ock too.
Right.
It's
Because in the third movie he went full second Goblin,
yeah,
right? Right? And then you had the three villains in the third movie.
yeah, yeah. There was too many villains in number three.
Right.
That period.
And then in
Um, and I
the
agree with the Fantastic Four. Like, I like what's his name. Who played Doctor Doom in the first in the Fox stuff?
oh,
Um,
the guy from Nip Tuck.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought he was actually really good as Doctor Doom as far as he's cocky. He
Yeah.
was,
I thought he was a great Doctor Doom,
yeah,
but he was an American Doctor Doom. Like he
yeah.
wasn't even
He did,
Latvian. Like he
yeah.
didn't
He
have an
didn't have an
accent.
accent. Yeah,
Like
that's
yeah.
what hurt. I mean, other than that, I kind of liked like the look was fine.
Yeah.
Like his rivalry with Reed and
Yeah.
him trying to seduce Sue on point because that's
Yep.
exactly what Doom did. His hatred with Ben, like his thing with Ben, same
Yep.
deal. Like there were little things about that was excellent. Like even the Silver Surfer in the second movie, I liked the way they used the surfer to a degree. I was not happy that Lawrence Fishburne was the voice of the Silver
Right.
Surfer. I thought it was kind of weird. And like I said, of course, we got to see the cloud of Galactus, which was ugh, yeah, garbage. But it was like you definitely saw the flaws in the second one. So the first one in the 2000s, I thought was actually not bad. Like you said, the supporting cast was lacking.
Agreed. Like, and it wasn't that it was lacking. It was not 100%, right? Like
Mhm.
in the second one, it was like Surfer was good until Doom showed up and kind of jacked up the storyline. Because
Yeah.
then they started doing this other storyline that came way later in the comics, but they
Mhm.
had to get through this whole first storyline that they didn't finish first.
Yeah.
Like, and it didn't make sense.
They
So,
tried to mesh storylines
yeah,
and it didn't work.
yeah, they tried to jam two storylines in too hard, and it
Mhm.
didn't quite work out. But again, the family dynamic worked great.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling like the family's going to be fine.
Yes.
I just want to know how everybody else is going to work.
Yes.
So that's my worry, but Marvel has not done anything in my eyes that has been crap. They've done some stuff that has been not as good as other stuff, but they've never done anything that was just pure crap.
They've done average, which I think people are not looking for average anymore. People want spectacular.
Right.
And I understand that. You know, you had that whole 10 years of building and building, and you finally got Infinity War, and people are like, oh my God. And then these last few years, we haven't had that. We haven't had a building and in a building and in a building. We've had, eh, uh, you know, pardon my grunts, but if you're like, for those who listening, I'm just kind of like, when you do that whole, how was it? And you're like, meh. That's basically what most of the newer Marvel stuff that they've done has been
Yeah.
meh. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't god awful, but it wasn't, Infinity War esque, you
Well,
know.
I mean, also like okay, so one of the points in the chat was that um too many timelines gets confusing, that there should
Mhm.
only be one timeline. I get that point. I accept that point as a
Yes.
problem. I accept
Yes.
that as a problem.
Yeah.
Um, but I also feel that I think, you know, after they do Infinity War, they're like, okay, now we got to start back at zero and we got to introduce all these new people. And
Mhm.
because they have to start back at zero, people are like, oh, well, you're up here now. Why are you back down here? And they don't want to go back down here.
Yeah.
They want you to keep going up. And it's hard to do that when you're up here now, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Plus,
just hard.
I also, the whole question that everybody always asks, where, well, we got to see all these different viewpoints during Infinity War of different parts of the planet where different battles were happening, but we're like, where were the X-Men? Where were the Fantastic Four? Where were like the street heroes like Daredevil? What were they doing during all of this? And that is a good question that Marvel never really answered, like, in all honesty.
Right.
And I think if they would have maybe taken their time a little bit, especially during COVID, they could have did more explaining and deeper dive during that era, and maybe people wouldn't be so angry about things.
Well, my guess is they're gonna just say that they all were blipped, is my guess.
Well,
Like,
but pre-blip though, what were they doing during that initial invasion?
I mean, some of them they kind of talked about, but a lot of it was that they were focused on their section of the world,
Yeah,
right? They were like, I'm not going to do that. I have my own shit to deal with,
yeah,
and that was kind of the idea, right?
yeah.
And I get that, and I think people need to understand that that was where they were going with that. So,
Hmm.
uh, I don't know. It
It's one of those things. And
I
like you
think people are
said,
also
too many
overthinking it a
timeline.
little,
Yeah.
you
Too
know?
many
I think, yeah,
timelines. Yeah, definitely. But I do like where this Fantastic Four is, where this is a timeline that we've never seen. Um, so hopefully there is a little bit of world building. I mean, we don't
yeah,
have to go in deep dive, but from what the trailer that we did see, it does seem like everything's around the 1960s. But as far as technology, it is leaps and bounds above where we were in the 60s. Like if you're going by 616 or era there. So I kind of want to figure out like what they're going to do, explain for that. I mean, they're probably going to have what, two credit trailers, I'm assuming. I'm assuming one's got to be Robert Downey as
yeah,
Doom.
probably.
It,
Yeah.
it, it would have to be. And the other one may be maybe Doctor Strange, since he's traveling he's the only one that kind of travels the multiverse without getting into too much trouble,
Yeah,
you
like
know?
maybe a show where him and Clea are right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we might get something
maybe.
like that, which I don't think too many people would be upset with that.
I don't either.
Uh, but
Yeah, we'll see.
it's I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm also looking forward to the Cap America. Looking
I
forward
am
to
too.
Harrison Ford Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm probably
as
gonna
I
go
was
check.
unpacking the Funko today, there are I was looking to see if the Red Hulk looks like Harrison Ford on the facial feature there.
Does it?
Not really. No.
Damn.
Not
Is it
really.
it's cool
Not
though, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Like
okay.
it's hard to mess up Hulk in Funko. It really is.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, cool. All right. Yeah. So other than that though, there really wasn't much news. I would like to thank everybody that came to Helltown over the weekend. That was a good time.
Mhm.
Nice little get together. Everybody had a good time. Everybody had fun.
I saw a lot of
Um,
posts on social media for it.
Jim Rugg grew a nice little beard. It's beautiful.
Ooh.
I
Does he have
told
a
him
little
I was
soul
like,
patch or is it
no,
just
no, he grew an
beard?
actual beard. Like,
Oh.
I was like, I don't know, Jim. I kind of like this bearded version of you. And he's like, yeah, you think it's good. I'm like, I do. I was like, I was like, I don't know if you should go full mountain man, like where it's like 4 or 5 inches long. But
Have
I
him
was
grow
like,
the
but I
beard and wear a bandana so he can be all like badass Harley guy.
that's kind of I think I was like, but if you do grow it longer, you're gonna need to retake that picture with you and the falcon on your arm. And he just kind of laughed about it. So, um, but in some news, tickets for Three Rivers Comic Con are on sale.
There
Um,
you go.
I am slacking and have not updated the website with all the artists and stuff, but I am announcing right now, um, new to the show, never before to the show, Ali Garza is coming. So Gen 13, um, he worked on Gen 13, he did Young Justice, he did Generation X. Um, what else did he do? Warlord of Mars, Age of Thoris. Uh, did some other stuff. He did some really cool shit. Um, I like Ali's really good time. He's really really nice dude. Big Steeler fan, I found out. So
Oh,
that's a
there you go.
bonus. Yeah, it was really funny because like we were starting to talk, and he mentioned he was a Steelers fan, and then we just started talking about our experiences inside Acrisure Stadium.
Uh,
So it was a good time.
it's Heinz Field. And
I
they refuse
know,
to call it
I
extra
know.
sure. Yeah.
Uh, See, you can't even say it, so there you go.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It gets I get tongue tied. I'm
yeah,
like,
sure, 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 sure,
Echo
sure, sure.
Shusu.
Sure, sure, sure.
Shusu.
Sure, sure. Well, anyway, so he's coming. It's gonna be a good time. Ron Francis coming back. Pat Allis coming back. Um, Trying to think who else.
Did we
Um,
did we invite Maria again?
I have not reached out to Maria yet. Um, because I think Maria might be an every other year person, but I know she's also really busy with that book with Tim Seeley, so I
Yeah.
don't know if she's going to be available. But I plan on reaching out to her. But there are a couple other people I need to follow up on before that happens because we only have so much space left. Um,
Mhm.
there are a couple other people that I cannot talk about yet, and a couple of them are people that have never been to the show. So, um, go to the website. It's a brand new ticketing system, very similar to the old one, but not the same. So, um, let me pull it up here so we can walk through it together, so I can show you guys how to
And
get
we
to it.
apologize for just those who are just listening on Spotify and all the other radio slash podcast. This is going to
Oh
be
yeah, I mean,
extremely
I'm gonna
boring.
talk about it real quick. Okay, so you go to threeriverscomiccon.com/tickets, and it brings you to this website. And you scroll down and you hit the little purple button that says buy tickets. So notice all children under 8 get in free, do not require a ticket. They do, however, require a legal guardian.
Thank you.
Okay? Legal guardian, which means
We are
someone
not
over 18.
babysitters.
We
Yeah,
are
we are
not your
not baby.
babysitter. So
Yes.
you click the little purple button and it brings up this thing and you go, boom, buy tickets. So brings you here to Ticket Leap / events. And then you just click whatever ticket you want. Now, here's the fun part. All of these prices include all your fees and all of your credit card fees, all your processing fees, everything. These are the actual price.
There
So
you
you will
go.
not pay any more than what you see on this page right here. So if you were like, I want a Saturday only, you go, boom, Saturday only, go to checkout. And then it goes here. It's going to ask for your name. It's going to ask for your email address. This is so that if you say, hey, like if you're like, hey, I need to cancel my ticket, we can make sure we cancel the right ticket. Or if you're gifting a ticket to someone, you can gift that ticket and they can be like, hey, I lost my ticket. We can still find it under their name. Um, so then you just put the name on the ticket, which is also good. So the name of the person that's buying it goes up here and the email it's going to be sent to. The name on the ticket goes here. Email it, hit continue. It's going to take you to the payment portal. Um, we're just going to do this real quick. I'll just use my Andy Comics one. Um,
And
not that I'm gonna.
I have to say, seeing those prices, it's nice to see a very affordable.
Yeah, I'm keeping it the same as what we did last year.
Yeah.
You get 14 minutes to buy your ticket, right? So then you just fill in your credit card information, right? Um, do all your stuff. You hit your agreement. Yes, yes, you want to receive marketing, because then that tells you all the stuff. Like if we send any other information out about marketing about it, and then there's your total, and you just hit complete order, and that's it.
It
You're
will
done.
keep you
Super easy.
updated to the guests that we're adding to.
Yeah, all the information for the show we will send through that marketing email. So make sure you click on that marketing email. You want to do that so that you want to receive those. We will be sending out emails to the old marketing email until through this year's show, just to keep everybody up to date on things. So make sure you check that out. So hey, Grant's in the chat. Good job. All right. So I guess we should talk about comics because I have a Scotty Young only full on
Ooh.
40 books to try to sell and whatnot for $3 a piece here at 9 o'clock. So we have 25 minutes to get these comics done. Um, so let's do it. My first book, Rocket Fellers #3. I'm really liking this book. It's very Fantastic Four-y. Um, Pete Tomasi, crushing it. Francis Manifold, crushing it. Um, so like the dad in this is still trying to work on this little alien guy. He takes it into the basement. Um, the son is 3D printing some stuff. Um, and eh, the mom goes ice diving, like kind of polar bear diving. Um, the grandpa like goes for a run. The grandpa's like 170, and like these old ladies get out of their car and start running after him and like, hey, old man, hey, because they're totally like into this very spry old man. Um, the little daughter's playing with some stuff. All of a sudden, the power goes out, and they're like, what the hell? So, the mom comes back out of the ice fishing stuff. The dad's like, "Hold on, guys, hold on," and he figures it out, or he rechanges how their power cycle is, turns it on, and all of a sudden the eye thing starts working, and he's like, "Huh, this is interesting." So while he's checking that out, their dog, who has these awesome robot arms, kind of think like Iron Spider arms, is making breakfast, and He's like making breakfast for everybody. It's crazy. Like he makes French toast, eggs, orange juice, bacon, smoothies, everything. It's great. Um, the mom comes back in, eats her stuff, says, "Hey, I gotta go. Like you guys gotta do your thing." She runs in. She's a pilot for the news for the I think he's the traffic guy. Jumps in the helicopter. They go up, do their thing. The guy tries to after they do the traffic report, he tries to kiss her and she totally flips the helicopter upside down and he's freaking the fuck out. And she's like, helicopters aren't really designed to fly upside down like this for very long. And he's like, please stop. We're going to crash. Oh my God. Oh my God. And she's like, okay, cool. You know what? I will do this as long as you repeat after me. And she goes, and he's like, okay, okay, okay. He goes, uh, repeat after me. Rachel will never have to deal with my rude and crude behavior ever again. So he says that, and he goes, otherwise HR hears about it. He goes, okay, otherwise HR hears about it. Then she flips it over and drives it home. Um, so then the dad, uh, gets a call from the future because he can talk to his older brother through the future through this video holoportal thing, to find out that his brother is dating this girl who's a time agent who he didn't really like, and now they're engaged, and he's like, crap. Um, and that's kind of where it ends. So it's the story's kind of moving along. It's very espionage-y. It's very family, like the family's stuck in the past still. The bad guys are still running after them. Um, I'm gonna give this a full Waffle House All-American, even with the upgraded surcharge on the eggs. Um,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, that's with peanut butter waffles because they're the
Ooh.
superior waffles. I like this book that much. It's super good.
Yeah, due to egg prices, we may have to change our reviews for
Oh yeah,
eggs.
that's true. Yeah. How many increased eggs do we have to?
Oh God. There, we had to get our knocks in here.
Did you hear
Wolverine
about the
number
did you
six.
hear about the guy who stole like somebody stole 100,000 eggs in
Yeah, here in PA.
yeah,
Yeah.
like somewhere in
I'm
Southeast
like, yeah,
PA. I was
only
like, what?
here. Only
They go,
here.
Of
Yeah.
course, Pennsylvania, of course.
Yeah. Probably trying to sell it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace.
Right?
Uh, but Wolverine number six, we left off where Wolverine is battling this adamantine deity. I guess I'm gonna say it's a deity or some kind of demon or something. Because it starts off in this book where he is um kind of still like in a daze from last issue where it attempted to take him over and everything. So he's been kind of in and out of it. He does wake up though after Nightcrawler kind of not smacks him around, but he shakes him a little bit and says, "Hey, hey, hey." Um, Everybody on the barge uh, is safe from the last issue, although everything's up in flames because you constantly see flames in the background of the book here. Um, they head back to the plane and find out that Leonard, the Wendigo, ripped a hole in it because it got tired of waiting. So they're trying to find him. They hear fighting, and he's fighting Laura. So Nightcrawler and Wolverine had to kind of explain the situation about, hey, Leonard is fighting the Wendigo curse, and Laura, you have to, put the claws away and don't kill Leonard. Um, so they finally they fix the hole in the Blackbird. Um, and they're continuing to search for answers of where this adamantine deity or came from. All Logan has to go on is it's very old and it's trying to kill like whatever it's trying to do. They're still trying to figure out what's going on with this. Um, they end up finding David Pierce or Don Pierce, which for those who don't remember him, he is a Reaver who has adamantium in him. So of course he gets taken over as well. So now um, Nightcrawler is watching Leonard in another location, and Wolverine and X-23 are following Donald to the rest of the crew that's already been possessed. So we got Lady Death, we got Cyber, and Donald Pierce, and Constrictor. And they're all attacking. Of course, Wolverine and Laura, you know, beat them, but because they're being possessed, they kind of do the whole rise up kind of thing because they're tougher and stronger that because they're possessed than they've ever been. Um, but before anything is done before that, they hear a voice. Wolverine hears a familiar voice, and he's like, "I recognize this voice. It's one." And he turns around, and we get Romulus coming back into the spotlight in Wolverine. I hope they do something better with him in this book than they did in Wolverine Origins. Um, I'm not mad at it. This was kind of cool. This seems to be they're gathering all of the enemies in Wolverine's Rogues Gallery. You know, I'm kind of down with it. I have been reading a lot of people getting ticked off about the whole, well, what's this uh adamantine thing? And I'm like, I don't know. Nobody knows. It's a little bit, you get a little bit by little bit information on it. Uh, I'm gonna go blueberry pancakes with this. Um, Light syrup because I'm still on my calorie watch diet here. So,
Mm.
um, but bacon is still affordable, so we're gonna slide some bacon in there because that's the only animal that so far I haven't heard that has some sort of virus to it. So we're gonna slide some bacon in there with the pancakes.
We're all gonna die. It's great.
Yeah.
Pandemic 2, bring it on, buddy. Bring it on.
Oh, oh, it should be handled well, right?
Right?
Did so
There's
well
a
last time.
there's a playbook. I swear.
God.
Maybe they have a playbook this time. I don't know. All right. My next book is Superman, Absolute Superman. Nu Numero Quattro. Um, so this book is kind of interesting because Superman's on the run. Lois Lane and the Lazarus peacekeepers are running after or chasing after him. And she's kind of starting to think maybe he's not really as destructively crazy as everyone says he is. But she has literally watched him turn bullets into dust with his eyes. She has done some shit. Um, Her dad is like on the phone with her. It's like, shut up, you're retired, old man. Um, so now the Omega Men show up and kind of pick a fight with Lois Lane. including Jimmy Olsen as a Mega Man. Um, he is the which one is he? He is not Omega Prime. He's Alpha. He's Alpha, and Omega Prime is a girl, but we don't know quite who she is yet. Um, though I'm betting she's Lana Lang. Just saying. Um, anyway, so the Peacekeepers kind of show up. Superman shows up to fight all these guys, and it's actually kind of funny. Like the Omega Prime's kind of like Superman. The Omega Man stand ready to help you in your fight against Lazarus. Please come with us, and together we can. And he literally just throws her, like throws her into like a building. And then he looks at Lois. He's like, "You stop looking at me." And she's like, "I just want to talk." He's like, "Ah, I have nothing to say to you." She's like, "Well, then I'll do the talking. But please just give me a moment of your time." And then the peacekeepers come barreling in, and he's like, they grab Lois. They're like, "Agent secured, let's go." She's like, "You guys are fucking idiots." It's Superman's just like, um, no, fuck you guys. And like, he like ice breaths them into like giant icicles, except for Lois. And she's like, "Holy crap, how'd you do that?" Jimmy Olsen's like super impressed. Um, the Omega Men like are like bitch slapping each other. Um, then like all these people are dead and they don't know if it's Superman that did it or somebody else. So it's actually kind of interesting. Uh, I'm really digging this book. It is my second favorite of the absolutes um, after Wonder Woman, and I really, really enjoy this book. I'm gonna give this book, oh man, let's go with um, all right, if we're going with let's just go with I'm gonna do the rest of my ratings in the amount of eggs from one egg to a dozen. So a dozen is the best. One egg is crap, right? A single rotten egg would be crap. This
Oh,
book, this book's about nine eggs. It's like three
there you
quarter
go.
of a dozen, right?
There you go.
Um, it doesn't have a lot of Superman in it, but it's got a lot of good story for Lois Lane. It's got a good like it's got some good uh build up for her. It's got some Jimmy, a little bit of Jimmy stuff in there that I really enjoyed. The Omega Man stuff was good. I really don't care about the Peacekeepers. Um, but and there was a lot of dialogue at the beginning where like it's a lot of the like the people he's been helping talking, and I don't really care before it was really boring. Um, so that part was kind of meh, but everything else was very good. I enjoyed it. So 9 out of 12 eggs, so three-quarter dozen.
All right. We got Bronze Faces, number one. I wanted to expand my reading this year, so new year, try some indie stuff here. Um, this starts off as a robbery in a museum. The two robbers are caught by a security guy. And then this book does a lot of flash forwards and flashbacks and stuff, which I'm I don't mind if it makes the story good, but you don't do it this way, so I kind of like but we were flashed from a few days ago into years, uh basically to the three main characters of this book, Sango, Timmy, and uh, Jibunka. Um, as you can tell, they are of African American descent. Well, African descent. They are all from the same village. We find out like they grew up together as kids. Their their father was a mask maker, which we find out is kind of the whole point of them stealing these masks, where they are their father's masks, who I guess the museum just took them or something. They weren't supposed to be in the museum, so to speak. Um, and we kind of get an introduction of their lives, how they interact, um, how their relationships to each other. I think Sango and Timmy are uh, basically lovers, friends with benefits, so to speak, by the looks of it. Um, Jibunk uh, Banca is the third wheel, so to speak. Um, and then after all the background, we get fast forward back into the robbery where the two assailants we find out are Sango and Time. And apparently the as the security guard is about to detain them, Jibunka actually hits the security guy in the back of the head, and they run off with the masks. And they're back at where they're staying, their place, whatnot, their hideout. And there's something about these masks we really don't know yet. But it's kind of this book was okay. If we're gonna do the egg thing, I'll jump on here. I'll give this probably about 4 eggs. Um, the story is kind of interesting, but the art is very, it's not my style. Like I love the cover. This cover is beautiful. But the interior is not my taste.
Oh
It
yeah.
is not, it's very, it's almost kind of like uh the lines are not lined up correctly. Not correctly,
Mm.
but they're not a usual art style that I prefer. Um, but I kind of like the story. It is intriguing. That's why I'm giving it probably like about 4 or 5 eggs because I'm gonna knock a book if your interior art is not up to par. Um, in my opinion. Um, like I said, cover is cool. The I may read number 2 and number 3 just to see get a better sense. Um, but it wasn't the worst book we ever read. That was last week where I had a couple of really bad books. So
Wow.
but this one definitely, for a new book just coming out this year, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll see where it
Okay.
goes.
Okay. My last book is actually a
I
book from
do.
last week
Yeah. I'm
because
surprised neither one of us did this last week. I was
well,
having
so my copy actually came in a week late because a couple days late because the diamond shipment in Ohio came late, so that's why
uh
mine wasn't there. So I'm lucky because honestly, the only two books I picked up this week were Absolute Batman and Rockefellers. So this worked
so
out.
it just kind of looked
Yeah, so this worked out pretty
yeah.
well. So this takes place in the year 2839 in Bedlam City. And Project Silverhawks is a thing where they're like just regular cops kind of um and they kind of run the penal planet in limbo. Um and they kind of oversee a jail and um Molecular breaks out Monstar and down in the city the older Silverhawks are kind of getting ready to retire. Um and they're like, all right, well, I guess we got to go up to Hawk Haven and retire. Because like Condor and the other guy, a Stargazer, they're both like, yeah, it's time to retire. So eventually, like, um, these Silverhawk cops, like the guys that are still human, um, get into like a big fight, um, and get pretty beat up, right? Like a big explosion. It's a lot of Molecular and Monstar's people, because Monstar's been in prison for 100 years, so he's got a lot of vengeance to happen. And the Silverhawks are like, shit, we barely beat him last time. Now what do we do? And Condor's like, hey, or Stargazer's like, hey, just so you know, like we got approval to restart the program, so we're gonna do this. And Quicksilver uh is injured. Um, like Officer Quick is injured, and at the end, he comes out of his tank as Quicksilver, the Silverhawk. So it's kind of like a backstory of the Silverhawks, which is actually way cooler than I thought it was going to be. Um, so I am actually very, very excited about this. This book actually was pretty good. The art isn't exactly where I want it to be, I'll be honest. But the story's very good and it moves very good. So I'm gonna give this oh I'm gonna also give this one 9 out of 12 eggs. Um but they're surcharged fucking like Waffle House eggs. Um because they're just slightly better than regular eggs. Um because it's just like it, it really got me like, okay, like, man, this might actually go somewhere really good. I really I like, if you liked the reboot of Ghost Space Ghost, or the um Thundercats, like, this is kind
Totally.
of kind of in the same vein, just not quite as, I don't think it was quite as well, like, it didn't
Well,
flow quite as well as those ones did, but this one
to
does pretty well.
to be
So,
fair, the Silverhawks, we never, if you ever watched the cartoon series, you never really got like a true origin.
right,
So they have a lot to work with on
right.
this. Because I actually started watching that again, not like for it, and I'm like, oh, they just start out like swinging. They never start there. Savage Tales #1.
While you do
Uh,
this, I'm gonna go set up for my sale.
go for
So,
it. Now this has several short stories. So you get a Captain Gulliver Jones, and he's traveling through Mars on foot. He dreams about his wife Haru and how he failed her. Ends up battling a Hydra, um, gets injured, and is found by a bunch of soldiers who drag him back um, to their area. And lo and behold, their queen is Heru. So, and that's where the story ends. This was literally like 4 pages and on to the next. The next one is John Carter and De this pronunciation is going to suck. Uh, Deji Therus. Um, and they're together as a couple. But John Carter gets attacked by some of Deja's guards who are trying to capture him and turn him in for a bounty. And also the fact that they hate him because, he, quote, defiled their princess. Uh, and he gets out of it. Like he uses his smarts and his strength. And also Deja comes and rescues him as like well because he was starting to get overwhelmed. Um, they, and that's basically how it ends. So that was the end of that one. Um, then we get a Vampirella story where there's a basically very Buffy the Vampire Slayer actress is shooting in a cemetery where they find out in one crypt that they were going to do a scene are three vampires and they start getting attacked by them. And this is where Vampirella comes in, swoops in, rescues them. Uh, and that was basically the way that one ends. And then we get a Red Sonja as the final story, where she is uh, betrayed by her uncle for a ruby. Um, she gets thrown into this pit where there is an invisible gorilla. She, of course, outsmarts the beast, kills him, climbs out of the pit, kills her uncle and like his attendant. And the way she kills her uncle is great because the ruby that he betrayed her for, she literally takes the ruby and jams it in his mouth and he chokes on it. So that was kind of cool. And it by far my favorite was probably the Red Sonja story because it was an all black and white, except like the red, where they had red for her hair and she during the battle where she was bleeding and everything. So that was kind of cool. I'm gonna give this the Savage Tales kind of a I'm gonna give these 10 eggs. Um, just because it's I remember Savage Tales, the magazine, and it used to be, very old school. This reminds me of that very much, except uh a black and white uh newspaper magazine style. This is very comic book glossy with color, with the exception of the Red Sonja, where it was black and white with red added in.
Okay.
But it was a fun little book there.
It's awesome.
So
All right. Well, um, that's time, and I literally have to go and do this thing. So, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you found some good stuff to read. Check out. Make sure you check out your local comic shop.
yes,
Support your local comic shops.
yes.
If it's
Come see
us,
us
even
this week.
cooler.
Come see us this weekend. Ether Drift coming up.
Yep.
I may actually be there on my day off on Saturday to actually play a pre-release for the first time in 10 years.
Here you go.
So
Do it.
I may come out and do that.
If you're into whatnot though, come check me out right now. Go hit New Dimension Comics. I'm gonna be on there right now. I got Scotty Young variants all night.